Hi, this is Dmitry Badyarov. I'm violin designer and success coach for musicians. And in this video, I'm speaking to Dr. Alexander, the founder of 5-tier coaching system. And we happen to be participating in a massive event here in London, and we discovered that we had really lots of things to share, lots of things, common interests as well, because
True.
we are both coaches, and it was absolutely enormous joy and pleasure meeting you, speaking about all kinds of issues and learning. And well, I would like to ask you a couple of questions, if I may. Since you are a #1 NLP coach, and also you worked with Tony Robbins for decades or years, I'm sure that you can give a recommendation to my audience, musicians, who may experience things like stage fright, for example, fear of being in front of huge crowd of people. And I even heard that you are currently helping a violinist,
True.
quite amazing violinist, to overcome that stage fright. So I would like to ask you, how do you help with that, with stage fright? What do you recommend? What would you recommend the viewer?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And of course, I've been using and teaching NLP for many, many years, also assisting Dr. Richard Bandler, the co-founder of NLP. And I learned that when we talk about fears, like musicians have fear of being on stage, and we know that all these fears have not been something that is in their genetics, or they are not born with that fear.
Yeah.
So for example, if you have a young baby, you can bring that baby in front of tens of thousands of people, and the baby will not be afraid.
Yeah.
So in our lives, we learned to be afraid. And if
Yeah.
we can learn to be afraid, we can also unlearn to that fear. So we can learn to behave differently. And the whole idea here is that I recommend, because of course there are many techniques musicians can use and practice in order to become better in their performance. But one of the most important ones is that they need to imagine themselves standing calm or energetic, or the way they want.
Visualize themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As many times as possible before they go on stage. And when they start experiencing negative emotion, they need to block it. Like they say, okay, stop, or they need to change their state, their posture. Because when people are
yes.
in a great posture,
Physiology,
yeah, if they have a good body posture and so on, they actually feel better, and
Yeah.
they need to break that thoughts, because
As you mentioned this, I changed my posture and I feel completely different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because how do we create fear? How do people create this emotion? They start seeing themselves not performing so well, or people judging them, or
Right.
whatever is in
Yes.
their minds, and they do this really fast. So that they don't know really. Many people say, "Oh, I have this emotion." This is not correct. They need to say they produce this emotion, which is a negative emotion, and
Yeah.
they need to start looking at that bad pictures, or saying to themselves bad things, and they need to start seeing themselves performing well and enjoying.
So building that positive image of
Exactly.
themselves as the ideal performer
Exactly.
in the ideal situation.
Yes.
It's very powerful stuff.
Yes. So and anytime they have this bad emotion, they need to start maybe using more funny tonality. Instead of what if they will be judging me? What if they will judge? And when they change the tonality,
I like it.
they change the experience.
I really like that. Yeah. Thank you very much. I really hope that this should help a lot of musicians. And also, I like to repeat that mental visualization is really, really important. And there is something I would like to ask you, because it's related to this, to sort of like a psychological anchoring in the events in the past when a person felt at their very best. Is it something does it exist as an NLP technique?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Anchoring, it's an NLP technique which helps people reproduce the same emotion they want whenever they want it.
Right.
So the way you do it, for example, any musician experienced a moment when they felt really confident, everything went really well, and they need to anchor that. They need to connect that to something special. Sometimes an anchor could be that they would maybe just squeeze their fists at that moment if they can,
Oh,
and then when they
Yeah.
need that emotion, they squeeze the fist again, and they walk on stage with that positive emotion.
Yes.
So
yeah.
what I recommend to people that do any kind of performance on stage, they need to anchor themselves just before they walk on stage, because many times people, like speakers or even musicians, they build up the energy on stage, so they come in a not such a good state on stage, and then after 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour,
true, very true.
the energy grows, and they build that energy with the public.
Yeah.
And sometimes you know that people have a few seconds to build an impression,
Yeah.
and in that few seconds, at the very beginning of the performance, we need to be on our peak. So before walking on stage, do whatever it takes to build a great state. So when you
Exactly.
walk
This
on
is very
stage,
powerful.
when you walk on stage, you will feel that great emotion.
This is fantastic. This is so powerful. I really like it. I already visualize myself coming, using that technique of coming up on the stage, no matter how big crowd is, and just feeling awesome. It's fantastic. Thank you very much, Alexander. And may I ask you another question? You
course.
see, there are so many musicians, and not only musicians, actually, creative professionals, that they dedicate themselves completely with their full passion, full heart into what they create. So for musicians, naturally, it is music. For artists, it will be their art. For musical instrument makers, it will be their musical instruments. But the reality is that in today's economy, doing just that is not necessarily sufficient, and I repeat very often that having just even a little bit of entrepreneurial skills, knowing how to utilize social media the correct way, knowing how to utilize mobile phone camera correct way, how to produce content. These very little things, but they are powerful. They can really transform careers. But the main issue, the main obstacle, perhaps my audience has, is that they believe that it's so technical, and that just that don't have the time to master all the seemingly in their minds complicated things. So what would you recommend? How would you help a person, encourage a person from your perspective as an NLP coach to just go out and learn new skills?
Yeah, I like the idea that we are all entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
We need to sell ideas to other people all the time. So, for example, to my kids, I need to sell them the idea. I mean, I said it, I call this selling, but to me, selling is really transferring my enthusiasm for something to another person. So I have to transfer my enthusiasm that the salad is good and healthy,
Yeah.
more than a cookie or some ice cream.
I like that.
And the same way, for example, I have a friend who is producing wine, and he's really good, and you know, the moment he starts speaking about the wine and telling the story about the wine, wow, when we taste it, it has a different taste.
The transfer of emotion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the same is with the music. For example, if somebody says, okay, I created this music in memory of my father.
Oh, this is so
and
powerful. Yeah.
they create a frame when people think about their fathers.
Yes.
And they resonate with them.
This is
Or
powerful.
this is for my baby, for my child,
Yeah.
or this song is for, you know, and having this story around music is really connecting the music to other people, because I think, and I'm not really a professional in this field, but I think that everyone, when they share their passion, when they share their why they're
Yes.
doing why they're playing this,
Yes.
and they connect it with the story, they will capture the audience. They will tell them, and even though people are not musical, even though they don't like classical music, they will stop and listen, and they will connect.
Because they will feel that there is something on a deeper level
Exactly.
going on. Absolutely love this. That's definitely works in music. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, wonderful. I know, Alexander, we can speak forever in this transfer of passion for what we
True.
really do, because you want to help lots of people, I
Yeah.
want to help lots of people, and this is the connecting energy between us. To wrap up, I would like to thank you for this interview, sharing wisdom and that's not just wisdom, but it's also decades of actually doing, helping people. So I hope that you really enjoyed this interview. I hope you picked some valuable nuggets here. Please tag anyone, any friend of yours who you think might need to watch this video, and don't forget to like my page and stay in touch, and we wish you a massive success.
Yeah, and I actually want to add to this, please follow what Dimitri is teaching, because I think the whole idea of using social media, using your presence, using your stories can help you build your business and become a successful musician. So I encourage you do and like his page and follow him.
Thank you, Alexander.
Thank you so much.
See you soon, guys.
See you.